we are going to try this recording and see how well we do without my kids or dogs interrupting, but we'll see what we can do. So we are doing one more round of chemistry at least, and one more round of this station work that we've been doing where you watch something, read something, do something, answer questions, upload, and then we give you feedback on what you're doing. So last week, I know that some of you had a hard time because you were submitting and then going back, and we forgot to adjust the settings so that you would always be editing the original one form entry. It's all set for this week. I've tested it myself. It does work. So no worries for that. Okay. So just be aware. So start your form, enter all your stuff like usual. I promise you, I'll show you at the end that it is going to record all your answers. I'll even make sure I'm putting answers. But the topic for this week is counting atoms and molecules. And so if we take a look back at the little journey that we've gone through, we started off with just the basics of reviewing what those atoms are and the idea that an atom has a nucleus that has protons and neutrons. Those make up the mass, really 99.999% of the mass of the atom, and that outside the nucleus are those electrons. The number of protons and the number of electrons always equal each other in a neutral atom, and they cancel out. And the protons are the identity, they determine the identity of the atom. What element is it going to be? Is it going to be carbon? Is it going to be lithium? Is it going to be oxygen? Is all based on the number of protons. Change that number and you change the identity to a new element, or to a different element, I should say. So that was our first week, right? Last week, we moved beyond atoms to molecules and compounds, and really understanding that when you chemically combine them together, you build them into compounds if they're different atoms, or if they're atoms from different elements, or you can just build molecules that are the same, O2, H2, N2. Those are just the molecular form of the element, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, right? So that I noticed was a little bit trickier. So, sometimes we would get what you'd expect: 4 carbon dioxide molecules, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can see all of them. I can see that there's 1 carbon and 2 oxygens chemically combined, and that happens 4 separate times. So that's totally fine. But sometimes there was some confusion with that, right? So that, you have 4 carbons and you have 8 oxygens when you multiply the subscript times the coefficient, but this ends up being one large molecule, and that's not really what we're going for when we say 4 CO2. So there's an element of counting atoms and molecules and understanding what you're counting that is important. And so this week is going to tease out some of those misunderstandings, and hopefully prepare you a little bit better for some of the chemistry, particularly actually some of the chemistry that you'll see next year at the beginning of the year. You're going to do some biochemistry at the beginning of the biology unit, so this will help with that as well. So if we take a look at the form, we go back here, you'll start with your watch it, where you're watching your video, and then you're going to answer a couple of questions about coefficients and atoms and total atoms. We did a little bit of this at the beginning of the year, you might remember, where we're counting and totaling up atoms for particular elements that are in a compound. After you watch it and answer those questions, the research is a website that you may or may not have seen before, but this is about common chemical compounds that you have in your house. If you've got eggs in your house, the eggshells have a chemical formula. If you've got marble in your house, or margarine, or milk of magnesia, or Drano, Calgon, bronze. I mean, there's so many different things, in your house that really all have a chemical formula to them. And a lot of them are primarily one compound and not just necessarily a random mixture. So this will go through some of those, and it'll ask you to find some common ones like bleach and Alka-Seltzer and things like that, and report out the atoms and elements for each of those. So that's that first kind of research it website, just to get a sense of what's in your house and what some of those compounds are. The next one, this might seem familiar to you. We've done some of this in class where we're actually looking at the different chemical formulas, and a lot of these are all color coded. And if you look here, it'll tell you coefficients red, the symbols are in black, subscripts blue, et cetera, et cetera. So use that little reference here to help you. It is meant to help you here. So you'll want to do that and then answer some questions about each of these different compounds. And then we're going to get to our interactive. Sorry, there's a reading. I almost forgot about the reading, which you guys have done before. Answer some questions, and then we're going to get to the interactive. So for the interactive, this is a PhET site. I've used it on my MacBook. I used it on the Chromebook. I think I even tested it out on my iPhone, so it should work on all three. So you should be in good shape there. And so for this one, it says in the instructions while that's loading that you're going to eventually work on the multiple. And so if you want to start off with the single, you totally can if you feel a little bit more comfortable, and I'll show you the single to start. But that the screenshot that I'm hoping you use will actually be for the multiple. So when you get to your thing's just going to be slow to load. I already have it loaded here. When you start with the singles, what you literally are building are one molecule of each example. So there'll be one molecule of water, one molecule. Oh, my son's joining us. One molecule of what we're making. And so, if I want one molecule of water, I'm going to just take two hydrogens. I'm going to take an oxygen. I'm going to connect them. And you notice now I've got them all connected, and it lit up blue on the right. And so I'm going to put it in there, and it's going to ding. And so it looks like I'm out of materials, but I'm really not. I can go to the next set of buckets, if you will, my element buckets. I can make O2. It lit up blue. I can put it in. I can make H2, and I can put that in, and there we go. So for this version, for this collection, I only have to make one of everything, which makes things a little bit easier for me. So CO2. Now let's say I built that wrong for some reason. If I needed to make it again, there's a button over here on the left. It will refill your buckets, right? So if you construct it inaccurately, it won't light up blue, and it won't let you put it in, just so you know. And then last one is N2. Okay, so for these collections, right, then we're all set. You're looking for your smiley face. So your smiley face is only going to come up if you have built it correctly. So that's what it looks like for the single. You're being asked, if you go back here, it says you want to do it for the multiples. We're looking here to click on multiple. That's what we're looking for. And you're just going to be asked to take a screenshot of collection 1, because there are more collections. You'll notice even in the singles I could do collection 2, but I'm going to skip over to multiple. And as I skip over to multiple, now you'll notice here it's 2 carbon dioxides, 2 oxygens, 4 hydrogens, and 2 NH3s. I think so. I can't see my own little faces on the bottom right corner, so I can't see the whole molecule. But now you're going to have to not just make, O2, right? Now what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to make 2 O2. So I'll drag that in. And it looks like my bucket's empty. I can refill the bucket, and then I can make a second O2, then I can put it in, and now that box is all set and it's turned yellow. Once you've got them all filled in, you'll get your smiley face, take your screenshot so we can see what you made, and then upload it. You guys have been doing really well with uploading your screenshots. I'd say about 85% of you are doing it, maybe even higher successfully. I did put a little YouTube link if in case you've been having any trouble, you haven't figured it out yet. It's a little quick tutorial on how to do that. That's something that you can do. So, again, I'm going to just put some answers in here. Please don't copy any of this because I'm just randomly typing here. But they're different. All right, I'm just typing some words in so I can get this submitted. I want to show you that I did edit this week so that you can change things. We've got our last section here where you're just selecting what goes with what, right? I'll submit our answers. Okay. And once I do that, then you'll see off me, do you want to see what you've been answering? Or do you want to edit what you've been answering? So this is the part where some of you last week weren't able to see everything because of I had been initially set up. So you'll notice if I scroll down, I think it was the third or fourth screen, answers are still there from before. I think, of course, it's all the way to the end. Those few things that I answered all the way to the end. All right, yeah, it was after this part. You'll notice that my answers are still here. Those random one-word answers that I put in, it did save them. So it's not going to lose your work this week. It didn't last week, but you just weren't able to see it. So I know that was a little bit frustrating, and I apologize about that. But that's it. So please email us with any questions. Please check in for office hours and Zooms. It's kind of nice to see how you guys are doing and holding up, and just to catch up and touch base. And hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.